Hello, all you MadDino listeners, back again with another podcast review. As some of you may be aware, a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie has been released in theaters recently. Honestly, I haven't gone to see it yet, but I have heard it's really good. I mean, it's got Spider-Verse animation. If there's anything I learned from watching Puss in Boots: A Last Wish, it's that Spider-Verse animation equals awesome movie. Now, that's not to say that that alone makes a good movie. That's got to be the franchise behind this movie as well. For those of you who don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a franchise that dates all the way back into the 1980s. It started as a comic book franchise, which soon turned into a Saturday morning cartoon. The characters consisted of Leonardo, the leader of the Turtles with the blue bandana, Raphael in the red, Donatello in the purple, and Michelangelo in the orange. The four of these turtles would work under the orders of a sensei rat named Splinter, who also acted as their father figure. This franchise was so popular, in fact, that a movie was called for in 1990. And that movie is what I'll be talking about here. Before you go and see the new movie Mutant Mayhem, I recommend you check out this movie. It's on Max, formerly known as HBO Max. But before you go and see that movie, I recommend you check this out, and maybe its sequels. Yes, indeed, in 1990, a live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was made. Now, in the 21st century, there are a few live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies out there, directed by Michael Bay. You might remember him as the guy who ruins Transformers. But these two movies, from 2014 and 2016, are not exactly something to talk about. Yeah, it's Michael Bay. If he ruins Transformers, he can ruin Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. But after that, there was still hope for the franchise, as Nickelodeon had a good handle on at least two television shows on Nickelodeon on their channel, and that was due in part by them handling the rights after the one from 2003. I remember watching the 2003 one a lot as a kid. I was born in 2000, you see. I'm gonna be 2023 this year. But let's look back at the one from 1990 before anything else. Instead of CGI like the Michael Bay movies, the turtles in this movie are all puppeteers from the Jim Henson franchise. Well, actually the Jim Henson Workshop, but I guess you know what I mean. They're all rubber suits with movable faces that change expressions and move their mouths. They can also blink and flail, and they're operated by people inside the suits who operate the bodies, such as the arms and the legs, and also the heads from time to time. Now that, I believe, is something that this century could do with a lot more. I mean, they do it. I think they do it sometimes in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think in the third one, me and my family watched that the other day. Dang, that's a good movie. I recommend you check that out on Disney Plus. But back to the movie. The movie's like about a bunch of ninjas called the Foot Clan terrorizing New York City, and this journalist, April O'Neil, is trying to get to the bottom of it, and so she is targeted by the Foot Clan's leader, Shredder, who was formerly known as Oroku Saki, and the Foot Clan mostly consists of troubled teens. And of course, thwarting their plans are the titular turtles, who are aided by their sensei Splinter. But they're not alone in fighting against crooks in New York. A vigilante named Casey Jones is also on the hunt for criminals. Now, Casey Jones has proven to be a popular character in the TMNT franchise. So much so that he appeared in just about every other series after the movie. But he wasn't interesting enough to appear in any of the sequels of the 1990 movie. That's an interesting thing to know. I gotta know that for a fact. And I suppose you do too. It's also interesting to know that Sam Rockwell is in the 1990 movie as well. For those of you who don't know, Sam Rockwell is a voice actor who you might recognize as the voice of Mr. Wolf from DreamWorks' The Bad Guys, Ivan the Gorilla from the Disney Plus movie The One and Only Ivan, or Justin Hammer from Iron Man 2. Now, Casey Jones is not that character. I had to look it up, but Sam Rockwell actually plays a member of the Foot Clan. See if you can recognize Sam Rockwell's voice in that movie. Comment down below if you can. But Casey Jones, his weapon of choice is a hockey stick, and he comes into contact with Raphael, who coincidentally went off to see a movie, which is Critters, which is not a Gremlins ripoff, by the way, people. I find it kind of funny that he went and saw a movie about creatures that are puppeteered, that are like puppets, but even he's like a puppet. He's like from Jim Henson. I find that pretty funny. But the little fight between Casey Jones and Raphael goes smoothly until Raphael chases him up the streets, and and comes back and gets like a lecture from Splinter on controlling his anger. But later on, Splinter gets captured and Raphael starts blaming himself. The Turtles then take refuge in April O'Neil's apartment, and they have to hide from her boss. I forget his name, who has a troubled kid named Danny. Danny is also a member of the Foot Clan. And I must remind you, the Foot Clan is still out to get April O'Neil, by the way. So there's that. And the Foot Clan has a tight hold on all of New York City, if we're gonna be honest. And that means the Shredder has a hand up controlling all of New York from the sidelines. It's also revealed later on that the Shredder has an ancient history with Splinter. The Shredder used to be named Oroku Saki and had a rivalry with Splinter's old master, Hamato Yoshi. Now, in the 2012 series on Nickelodeon, which me and my sister both loved, Hamato Yoshi is already Splinter, who was mutated into a rat, and Oroku Saki was actually his brother instead of his rival in the 1990 movie. But the only thing that they kept constant was their love for Tang Shen, and them fighting over it. Tang Shen wanted Hamato to move with her to New York to avoid conflict with Oroku Saki, but Saki killed her, and then Hamato. This made Splinter angry as a tiny little rat, and then he clawed Oroku Saki's face, and in return, Oroku Saki cut Splinter's ear. And that's why the Shredder wears his mask. So that's like the ancient history between Splinter and Shredder in this movie. And when the Foot attacks the Turtles in April, Casey Jones comes to rescue them, and they all take refuge at an old farm where April used to go to, while Raphael, who was severely injured, goes on to heal. Now, in the 2012 show, I know I compare this a lot to it, but I want to give a good analysis to those of you who are new to the franchise. In the 2012 show, which is on Netflix by the way, the Turtles abandon New York because it's being taken over by the Krang, a malevolent species of alien who want to transform the world. And Leo is the one who's gravely injured and not Raphael. Leonardo is the one who heals in the bathtub, not Raphael. But I guess it's like inspiration from that movie. I mean, how can it not be? You know, as a person who likes reboots now and again, I really like how they change like the source material in the future installments, like the DuckTales reboot, and some reboots of Scooby-Doo, like Mystery Incorporated. I really like touches like that. But I digress. The Turtles regroup at the old farm, while the Foot Clan still goes on with their plans. Shredder is planning on killing Splinter, as revenge for scarring his face. You'd think that he'd want revenge for taking the love of Tang Shen. That would be something for the 2012 Shredder to do, even though he was the one who killed Tang Shen. I'm not sure. Either way, it's a pretty petty rivalry with the rat. And also, Shredder has his accomplice named Tatsu as well. Tatsu was a minor character in the 2012 series, and I think the 2012 series had the best handle on the source material. Compared to like the 2003 show and the one from 2008, Rise, they hardly had any actual Shredders named Oroku Saki at all. In the 2003 one, Shredder was actually an alien called Shrell, and he was named Utrom Shredder. And in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder was actually a cursed being made of armor, actual armor, that came into life when John Cena's character Baron Draxum wore his armor. But then we couldn't make room for the Krang in the movie that came out last year on Netflix. Honestly, I think that the 2012 show was the best one. It was funny, gripping, and mature. I recommend you go check that out too. But I digress, back to the movie. The Turtles, April, and Casey start to bond at the farm, and they get like a help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope from Splinter, telling them that he's alive, and encourages them to go back to New York, which they do, and they get to the bottom of where the Foot Clan is hiding to go and rescue Splinter. Another thing I gotta mention here is like the acting. Honestly, this is the most 90s movie I have ever seen, with like rap playing during fight scenes, lots of canned punching sound effects. It's actually pretty funny, not gonna lie. Honestly, this movie, it's hilarious how 90s it is. The whole trilogy of these movies is absolutely 90s. The second movie, Secret of the Ooze, came out like a year after this movie, and then the third movie, Turtles in Time, it came out like the year after the second one. And these two, they're like as inferior as could be to this movie. Not to say that it's perfect or anything, not gonna lie, but it is not have the same kind of feel as the first movie. I mean, like I said before, Casey Jones isn't even in the sequels. And the Turtles do travel in time in the 2012 show, but that's not something to copy from the live-action movies. Not gonna lie. Maybe they could do that again in the Mutant Mayhem franchise. I hear they're making a sequel, maybe a third movie if it proves to be as popular as the Spider-Verse movies. Not likely because it's bombing right now. You should go and see it though to keep it from doing that. We have enough of that from Disney these days, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, Danny, the boy from earlier, who has troubles with his dad, learns Splinter's backstory and plans on breaking him out. But Tatsu stops him, and it results in a big fight between the Foot and the Turtles. The Turtles confront Shredder on the rooftop of their hideout, and engages in a battle with them before fighting Splinter. Now, Splinter and Shredder have one of the biggest rivalries in the franchise, and it culminates in the 2012 series in the biggest way possible. Spoilers, by the way. If you don't want any spoilers, I recommend you click off this video right now and watch something else. In the 2012 show, Splinter knocks Shredder off the roof, and Leonardo watches from the ground, in joy, but then just screams in horror as, I guess, Shredder just climbs back up and just slices his knife into Splinter's back, killing him in the process. Before this, Splinter did die before, but that was when these aliens, the Triceratons, used a black hole weapon to engulf all of Earth, and the Turtles had to time travel and go back and stop them. That was the only only time Splinter's death was averted. But not here. That death is real. Splinter is actually dead. It took me and my sister by surprise. This is a kid's show, right? It should be a kid's show. I mean, that's why I like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, after all, because not only does it have great animation and iconic moments, but it also has mature moments as well, like when Perito helped Puss through his panic attack, and death, of course death. How can I not mention death? The craze of Puss in Boots may have gone away these past few months, but we can still love it as it is, can't we? Anyway, Splinter fights the Shredder and throws him off the roof, where he falls into a garbage truck, and Casey Jones crushes him with the switch. That also happens in the 2012 show, but like this movie, Shredder does not stay dead. The Foot is defeated, and all the conflicts are resolved until the second movie, where Shredder is back and recasted. In the second movie, Shredder has these two mutants working for him now, a wolf named Razor and a snapping turtle named Toka. Toka, in the 2012 show, was a giant fiery Gamera-like monster that was like on an alien planet when the turtles had to collect pieces of a black hole generator. While Razor is also another character, Chris Brown. I think that was his name. Voiced by Clancy Brown. Chris Bradford, that's it. Chris Bradford is mutated into a giant dog named Dog Pound, but then he's double mutated into a nightmarish wolf that Mikey calls Razor. Something I need to talk about with this movie, with the 1990 movie, is the personalities of the turtles and how they vary in comparison to their future adaptations. Leonardo and Raphael have the most character out of the four in this movie. Donatello and Mikey, the ones in purple and orange, they act like the typical goofballs of the gang. When Leonardo and Raphael fight because of their heated arguments throughout the movie, the two of Donatello and Mikey are all like, forget this, here they go again, let's go find something to do. And Donatello just hands Michelangelo a pork rind, and they're just like eating while their leaders are fighting. Raphael has always been the most hot-headed of the four, while Leonardo is the most level-headed. Donatello has a technological genius, while Michelangelo is the goofball. Michelangelo names pretty much all the mutants in the 2012 series. I know I keep mentioning that, but I keep saying that's my favorite one. And for obvious reasons, it might be yours as well. But anyways, with Shredder defeated before, the main plot revolves around Shredder being back in the second movie, where he's out to get the turtles for doing something to him. I mean, it was Splinter who knocked him off the roof, and Casey Jones who crushed him, who nearly tried to kill him. In the end, Shredder mutates into a giant hulking monster, but brings down an entire building, killing himself. Now, I haven't seen the third movie, Turtles in Time, but I hear that is the weakest of the three. I hear that the turtles acting is bad, the writing is bad, everything about it is bad, and just from hearing about it, I would say so too. I think time travel started with Back to the Future, and the writers of these movies just wanted to keep it going to earn a quick buck. That's pretty much the thing with every good franchise these days, isn't it? It's like Land Before Time all over again. But give credit to Secret of NIMH, they only stopped at one bad sequel. Who knows? Maybe they'll make a Land Before Time 15. Hopefully they have competent writers. I don't know. Now, that's not to say that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles haven't aged perfectly. There's been a lot of flaws lately with their characterizations, mostly with the Michael Bay movies and their uncanny CGI looks. If you want to check those out, I think they're on Paramount Plus now. That's the thing. It's a new era, I think. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in rubber suits, I don't think that would fly today. Them being on. The suits of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have changed from like adaptation to adaptation, like this live show out of their shells and like this interview with someone, I think Oprah. Yeah, not gonna lie, that would not have aged as well today as it did back then. But we can look back on this movie now and safely say that these movies can be considered classics. Like this, like the third movie can be a so bad it's good movie, and the first one can be an underrated, enjoyable classic. I mean, not exactly as perfect as some of Disney's works, but let's be honest, it's the best that they can get. But if there was something that I would love to criticize about this movie, it's that it lacks development for the turtles. Yeah, the most focus we get on is like the bond between April O'Neil and Casey Jones, and even Danny and his dad, and Splinter and Shredder. But we don't get a lot of development from the turtles. Because let's be honest, there isn't a lot of story to go around with them, to be honest. There's no like world ending threat, there's only like a threat to their city, and deep ties to their father figure. But nothing beyond that, there's nothing else. There's not really a lot of hype or a lot of, like we gotta stop this from destroying the world and things like that. No. We don't get like any of that, no. It's just save this. They just gotta save the city, help them win, save them all from the state they're in. Things look dark, but they know it can't be the end. That kind of thing. Any of you get that reference? Comment below. But we don't get a lot of, like development for the turtles. There's like the point of this part here. They just stick to their personalities, but the most we get out of that is the bond between Leo and Raphael, and Raphael's heartbreaking scream when he finds out that Splinter's been kidnapped. He finds out that it's like all his fault that he led the Foot Clan to their secret hideout in the sewers. And Donnie and Mikey, they're not exactly like useless to the whole plot, but they don't contribute that much either. They just mostly like pizza and goof around, but hey, all the turtles like pizza. Let's go along with that. But all in all, I enjoy this movie. It's a good thing to watch when you're preparing yourselves to watch Mutant Mayhem. Like I said, I recommend you watch these movies before you go and watch Mutant Mayhem. That way you'll know a little bit more about the source material. So yeah, those are my whole thoughts on the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So I hope you like it. What did you think of it? Leave your whole thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time on my podcast review. I'll see you guys next time. Leave a comment on this video, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you next time. Bye!